Masculinity, your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Good day, Madman Mafia.
That's right. I am Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Madmen of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Oh, man, dude. Here we go.
Here it is.
Here we go.
We're having one of those conversations for you. You need to know this.
This is one of them. This is one of them ones, man. This is one of them ones. You know, we don't rant a whole lot. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. It looks a little different.
This is not ranting.
It looks a little different here for those diehard Madmen Mafias that are, you know, that tune in on Mondays as we record these for our over the air radio show on 1220 AM in the Mile High City. But we're not in the studio, man. Why are we not in the studio?
Well, we're trying out something new. We want to get in some international guests. Plus, I'm moving out of the city up into the mountains for the winter. So we had to figure out if this works.
See, man, you don't love me, man.
It's not even like that.
You just abandoning me, man.
You don't love me. You're not even like supporting my decisions. I see how.
No, I'm not. I don't support. I don't support bad decisions.
Whatever. You don't even know what bad decisions is.
Oh, I know bad decisions. I mean, I trust me. If there's one thing I know, it's bad decisions, man.
Well, you know your bad decisions. You don't know my bad decisions. See, so.
Dude, I got bad decisions like Kleenex got tissues, man. For real. I got bad decisions like a port has containers, man. I got a whole lot of them, dude.
That's
a whole lot of them, dude. That is a whole lot.
Speaking of bad decisions, I think that kind of segues quite nicely into being a man of your word.
Dude, it is kind of a rant. It is kind of a rant here, man. And, you know, and so as we do pivot into this this new phase, as far as the production of our show, you know, we kind of we had a connection, and we're not going to use names, but we are going to put a scenario on blast, period, because it leads into an important topic. And you know, I get a feeling that this bugged me more than it bugged you when it all went down yesterday. But that's just, you know, you know, I'm older than you, so you know, I get worked up by things you don't get worked up by. But anyhow, so we had made a connection several weeks ago. We were, you know, somebody that is a deep, close friend and supporter of the show kind of connected us with a guy, and we had made arrangements for the guy to be on air today. And we had, you know, even so much so that we decided, since it was several weeks out from when we planned this, why don't we do a whole series on addiction? You know, kind of, you know, just kind of feeding into this whole, you know, this interview that we had coming up. And so, I mean, obviously this is recap for listeners and viewers, but so we had arranged the date, you know, October 7th, as we record this. It is October 7th. And, you know, we arranged the date on November 13th. I know, because, you know, text messages we got received. Oh, September. What did I say? November?
My bad, November. That's that math don't math right there.
No, that math don't math, and that would have been a long time ago. September 13th is when we made this arrangement. So we arranged the interview, and then, you know, as we normally do. I mean, we've been doing this for years at this point, right? I mean, we ain't new at this. I mean, we true to this, right? I mean, a hook or crook, whether we do it at home, whether we do it in the studio, man, we've been at it. We've been pretty faithful. I think on YouTube we got like 500 and some videos up there, or whatever. I got the notice. Did you get notice that we crossed 4,000 subscribers?
I did. I sent that to you.
Did you? Oh, yeah. My bad. Well, I guess you did get it. Anyhow, and so point is, you know, we ain't new to this, right? I mean, we've been doing this for a little bit, and this is the first time this happened. So we reached out, and we between the two of us, hey, did you confirm with this guy? And you actually reached out. You kind of beat me to it. You sent a little group text and reaching out, confirming with the guy, and all of a sudden the guy comes back with, you know, well, I didn't hear anything from y'all, so I just went ahead and you know, made other work plans or something to that degree. And I'm like, what? You ain't hear nothing from us. Like, we literally, if you just scroll back 3 inches on your screen, you'll see that we had confirmed, you know, this date. And so So that didn't really rub me too right. And I was just like, I was kind of going to let it go, but then kind of not. Because then he kind of, then I kind of said, so are you saying that you're not available, at 4:15, tomorrow between 4:15 and 6? And then he comes back, well, tell me a little more about your show. And I'm like, tell you a little more about man, we made this. This has been 3 weeks in the making. So you sent him, the link, the YouTube link, by the way, like, subscribe YouTube, help your brothers out, HBO. But you sent him the link, 1 hour video that you sent him. This, one of our Monday shows, you sent him a 1 hour video, and within minutes he came back saying, yeah, it's not a good fit. And dude, I think that just kind of sent me off the little edge a little bit, man. That hit me the wrong way on the wrong day, man. And I just had something.
Mhm.
And so I just kind of said, all right, man, hold up, dude. Then, I mean, for me, in my mind, the way my mind works, dots connected. I'm like, I bet you this dude forgot and made other plans. And then all of a sudden, now it's not a good fit. And what do you mean it's
I
not?
think I don't know. I mean, just the way that whole went down, and when we wanted to do this episode on man of your word, because it did spark this whole concept of like, are you a man of your word? One of the things that kind of came to me, I think, is where this is. Some people process things differently, and they have like their whole MO, their modus operandi about how they like things done and how they think things should be done. However, if you have a certain way you like things being done, communicate that, because we do things the way we do things. And I think what he was expecting was because he was like, oh, email me the details, which I was going to email him the details right after we reconfirmed that he was on for today. And so when we did that back in September, I think he was expecting us to send him all the stuff, soon. And we'd have all these back and forth conversations, which I guess we're so used to doing this. Maybe we forget sometimes when people aren't used to doing this kind of thing, that it's not that big a deal, but most time when it's somebody's first time, they think, there's got to be a lot of prep work. There's got to be a lot of conversations beforehand. But to my point, if that's how you operate, say something to that effect. Like, I'll expect an email a week or two prior to reconfirm and to make sure and so we can work out the issues. He didn't say that. He just said, email me the details. And I was gonna right after reconfirmed. But of course, obviously, the way he operates, we didn't operate within his preferred modality. So he decided to move on. Or to your point, maybe he did forget. And then he was like, well, you didn't email me, so I just forgot about it.
See, I'm going to respectfully disagree.
Hey,
I'm
that's
gonna
all right.
pimp slap everything you just said, because the thing that brings it home for me was that all of a sudden, tell me a little bit about your show, like like all of a sudden, audition for me to come on, kind of thing, or something like that. I don't even know what the whole MO about that. Give me more details about the show. I mean, before you even agree to come on somebody's radio show, don't you think there are certain places where I just won't even say, yeah, I'll be there, like, if I don't know. So anyhow, but then to go that whole route on the back end and then get that clip from you and then say, yeah, it's not a good fit. It was a good fit 3 weeks ago on the 13th when you made the plans for the 7th, but it's not a good fit now. I mean, and so my thing coming back to him was, and I get what you're saying, and I think you just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I ain't giving him no benefit of the doubt, dude. I'm like, this to me, man, it was a chump move, dude. And it was just like, I mean, that's just me, again, 51-year-old dude, just, I got some grades, all that. I've been around some blocks, man. And like I said, we've been at this for a minute. I've coordinated, I've agreed to be a part of, I don't know how many different people's stuff or platform. We've arranged events. I mean, we ain't, like I said, we're not rookies at this whole thing, right? And so I have experience with all this kind of stuff. If I had something planned for October 7th, and if in my mind I needed, hey, confirmation, or some more details or something like that, then I would absolutely reach out and I would say, hey, is that still on or something like that. But anyhow, that's a little bit besides the point. I'm just the whole come back around and saying, yeah, it's not a good fit after all of after we had this plan for 3 weeks. And anyhow, it was what a good fit for me, man.
Well, and that's kind of, I'll do try to give the benefit of the doubt, know what's going on, don't know dude, don't know what's going on in his life. However, to your point, if you're a man of your word and you need those things, ask for them. Put that out there. And so if you got up to a week before prior or a week before the show and you're like in your mind, oh, they haven't sent me anything. Maybe we're not doing it. Maybe it's not send out, hey, just want to check in. Hey, just want to know what's up, guys. I mean, a 2-second text and you would have had all the information you needed. Of course, we've been, got everything during our day. Then we have the show at night. Then we have our weekends. We got family and friends and everything else. So it's not like we're just not doing nothing but the show. It's just one of those things that it can be very irritating and rub people the wrong way when if you need a certain sort of information, if you need things done a certain way, you got to communicate that, whether you're a man or a woman. I mean, we're talking mostly to men, are you a man of your word? However, for a lot of us, it's just a matter of what do you need? Communicate that. Let me do that. And if I can't do it, I'll tell you that doesn't work for me. We're going to have to find a new way to do it. We need to, recollaborate or reorganize or find some sort of way to make this work for both of us. But that's just something that comes down to being a man of your word. Because the way we do things, we make sure we fill the calendar out. A lot of times when we have one, especially when we have these series, a month or more in advance, like we're filling up all the dates and putting names in and making sure everybody's there and got the info. So if something's not working for you, just communicate it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, to me, that was it was a man of your word kind of moment. And normally I'm the one that just whatever, man. Bye, Felicia. Normally that's just me, but there was something about that yesterday, man. And I mean, my wife was even surprised that I was just like, I couldn't just let it go. I mean, in terms of like, I replied back to the dude, and I was like, man, just for the record, that's unprofessional, dude. I mean, you got a organization or whatever he had, and he's trying to do X, Y, and Z, and all these other kind of things, man.
And we're trying to promote it.
And that's what I'm saying. And here's a radio podcast platform to promote what you doing. Like, we're not getting, you didn't like pay us for this platform and nothing like that. Like, this is, I mean, it is what it is. And so this is one of those. And again, how many people have we had on? I mean, we've had doctors, lawyers, therapists, couples. I mean, we've had, reality TV people on. I mean, man, we've had all kinds of people. And this has never, ever, ever come up or happened this way before. And so anyhow, so yeah, man, this is one of those things that it really kind of got me fired up. And I'm like, man, this is an integrity kind of thing. It's a man of your word kind of thing. So so we'll unpack that whole concept. We won't beat the dead horse too much, but we'll unpack that whole concept. Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
I feel there's some more beating coming up.
I just feel there's some more
beating from you.
I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna beat it like Michael Jackson. We'll be right back. Mad Men and Masculinity on KLDC. Boom. Yeah, I ain't really done
beat it.
I ain't really done with it yet.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it was funny because I was just kind of like, and in my mind, I was just kind of like, well, either he self-sabotaged or something came up or he forgot or whatever. And in my mind, I was like, well, then he's not a good fit because it didn't work. But I know I saw that when you sent that text, I was like, oh, he hot. Hot.
It ain't too much. It ain't too much that'll get me worked up, man. But that kind of thing, that was a gaslight also kind of thing. And this, of course, this is off air.
I did like his last message.
As far as radio. Yeah, the last part is, well, I can say the same about you. Y'all
I'm gonna keep it on the high road. Like that's
dude. First of all, you ain't got nothing. We got microphones, dude. Like, I ain't worried about your low road. Like, what I'm saying? Like
we packing, baby. Don't
dude, like, what I'm saying? Like, I ain't worried about you spreading. I mean, we got we got a resume at this point. We got a whole lot of road behind us at this point, man. It would take some serious momentum to, for some dude that whatever. Anyhow, so yeah.
That does bring up a point which would be really interesting. I don't want it to happen, but I would be really interested to see all of the mafia come out in support if somebody was trying to low road us for something this silly. I would be interested to see that.
We've done, and that's the other thing. We've done a lot of good. We've had, virtuous aspirations. and so I firmly believe that if that was the case, like we got enough good street cred out here that it would
We're gonna
take
be all
something.
right.
Yeah, we gonna be all right. Plus, what do we got to lose? Like we're gonna lose all the money we make. We're
You
gonna
mean all
lose
the money we spending?
we're gonna lose our Nielsen rating. Like like you don't understand, dude. Like this is all
Yeah.
upside, right? I mean, this is anyhow. So
Anyway,
let's get back.
let's
at
bring
it.
it back before we get canceled already.
Mhm. And we're back.
We're back.
Yeah,
This
we're
is the
back.
Mad Men Show.
Mad Men Masculinity, madmenradio.com. Holla at your boys.
Yeah,
1220
Mad
AM in the
Men.
Mile High City and on the interwebs everywhere. Doing our
So
thing,
we just
man.
got done doing our abbreviated month-long addiction to recovery. So now we
Yeah.
rant and raven. So you know
We
how
just
you all
rant.
love us rant and raven.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
mean,
rant and raven
again,
episode.
this is well, I don't want to say probably. There's probably the one time we talked about Jada Pinkett Smith that I kind of ranted.
Well,
but
that was another rant one. Yeah,
but
the people like those.
yeah, people like those. I mean, you got to have that every now and then because people want to know you got like some strong feelings about something.
Yeah.
And I got some strong feelings about this. And like we said, we're off here. By the way, if you check us out on Facebook and YouTube, you get to hear all the stuff
Behind
that
the
we
scenes.
don't say and can't say on FCC Radio or all the behind the scenes, if you will. So check us out, YouTube, Facebook, all the streaming platforms and all that kind of stuff, podcast platforms and all that. But so I just did some more ranting. But that whole scenario, man, like I said, it had to me, it kind of triggered my Agent Orange a little bit, man. It just man, that was a little bit of gaslighting and a little bit of
projection.
I just didn't like that. So, but it brings to the point that, especially us as men, you got to be able to have some level of integrity about who you are, what you're about. And when you commit to something, when you say something, when you're going to be about something, you got to be about it, man. Like you can't, you can't just be, man, one of the things that irks me the most is flakiness and flaky people, man. That just bugs me to death, man. I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this whole thing comes down to, I'm going to go back to even what I mentioned in the first segment. If you're a man of your word and you're not, and your needs aren't being met, speak up, fool. Like if something's not happening the way you want it. And that's why, I mean, I'm glad we didn't have a discussion last night because then I'd have been hot all day. Because now the more you're talking, the hotter I'm getting. But yeah, I mean, we had it set up 3 weeks ago. We had the date. We put your name in. And then all of a sudden, because we didn't message you a week ago and that's what you were expecting. Well, if that's what you're expecting, say something. Because it's really easy. We have a group text with all of our guests. You just say, hey, where's my email? Whoop, it would have been there 5 to 10 minutes later. Unless I was busy, then it would have been there within an hour. But to come at it, and then, of course, like most people, and one of the things, then I'm not bad mouthing ladies, but this very feminine, nice guy, manipulative thing to do to make an assumption, not say what you expect. The unspoken expectations in life and business and relationships is what kills a lot of relationships, because when you don't express your expectations, when you don't say, I'm expecting this from you, and give me the opportunity to say yes or no, or we can work with that, or we come up with a compromise, that is disingenuous and really affects your credibility with me and also with Kirk, because when we've been doing this long enough, and it's not like we're making a bunch of money and this is our career. We're still paying to do this. We're doing this out of love and because this is our passion, and we have something to say, and we're hoping to help support those that do work in the community, like this gentleman. We were hoping to support him like we did the other gentlemen that do similar work the last month. But when you come back with this, oh, well, it doesn't seem like a fit. I mean, and I can jump on the psychology Ferris wheel and come up with 8,000 different reasons why he self-sabotaged or was rejecting or gaslighting or whatnot. But that's none of my business. It just wasn't a fit. And I'm just going to leave it at that. But that's when it comes down to working with us and being a man of your word, it's that simple. It's not really hard.
It is written, let your yes be yes and your no be no. If you, we both are kind of in the, I'm sure you've experienced it like I have, where there are opportunities that come left and right. Hey, will you do this? Will you do that? Will you be a part of this? Will you be a part of that? Will you join this? Will you join that? speak at this, speak at that, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, man, I just had, something come up just a week or two ago. It was one of those, here's a great opportunity to get in on the ground floor or something, and all those other kind of things. And by somebody who I was, who I and we respect heavily. And it was, a lot of excitement about it. And after I heard the whole presentation, I honestly just had to say, yeah, it's not for me right now. Like I don't have
Yeah.
the bandwidth to take on anything new, especially anything like that. And so sometimes you just got to be willing to say no when the answer is no. But when you say yes to something, you should say yes to something. But to wind back to what you said in terms of the unspoken expectations, that is, I mean, that is it can be something very detrimental to, especially in relationships, to your, whether it's personal relationships, public relationships, professional relationships, whatever you want to call it. But unspoken expectations of, hey, here's what I need. And I mean, I need, I schedule myself out a week in advance. So I'm going to need this thing a week ahead of time, details, blah, 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 blah. He mentioned something at the very end of all that about, the topic that we were going to discuss. And I'm like,
We told you the first time we connected with you,
dude,
we're doing a month-long addiction to recovery. Let's talk about your center or your work.
what do you think? I want to talk about your shoe size, what your preference is on toothpaste? Dude, you have an addiction recovery organization, and that's what we want to talk about. I mean, topic like, and again, not only have we had X number of guests on, we just had two guests that have addiction recovery organizations, ministries, businesses, whatever you want to call it. Literally the last couple shows. And so, I mean, and in neither one of those cases was it the same thing. So anyhow, yeah, it just, when you have those unspoken expectations, man, they can be very dangerous. Because you end up getting disappointed and you end up getting in your head. To be totally honest, I do this and I have to catch myself when I do that. I won't say what I really want or what or I have to almost force or remind myself to be honest and be upfront with people and say X, Y, and Z. And it's something that you almost have to reprogram yourself out of. But if you don't do that, you're destined for disappointment.
Yeah, it's something that I'm still working on. I'm getting much better at, but coming from nice guy syndrome, that is something we do not do as nice guys because we're always manipulating and hoping and doing for others and hoping they'll do for us without ever expressing, hey, I have this much bandwidth. I'm gonna help you out with this. I need some reciprocation. I need to, we're both on the same team. We're playing to the same goal. And a lot of times as a nice guy, you don't do that. And then you get resentful because, oh, you didn't tell them what your expectations were. You didn't say, hey, I'm helping you out with this, so you'll help me out with that, which is totally fine. It's reciprocation. That's what, give and take is all about. When you offer up to do something and then don't express your expectations and then get mad when somebody doesn't follow your expectations that you didn't say. Ladies, we cannot read your minds. So please express your expectations and then give us the opportunity to say yes or no. Gentlemen, if you do not express your expectations, you're being a lady. I'm sorry. You want us to read your mind. That's just the way it goes. I'm sorry, but being a man of your word means not only saying yes or no when it's the right opportunity, not the right opportunity, and expressing what it is that you can and can't do, but also expressing your needs and your wants. Like, okay, I will do this. I need this from you. And then give that person the opportunity to fulfill that. That's all we ask. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Even when we, just a few weeks ago, we were at, the business boot camp and there were several opportunities there. Matter of fact, I mean, I'll put it right out there. Our good buddy, Chris Natsky. I mean, he's a professional coach, a business coach. And maybe a couple of months ago, he kind of reached out saying, hey, I got this new group. I'm starting up a group coaching, cycle that I'm starting up with these guys. And here's what it is and X, Y, and Z and all the details. And, and he just kind of said, hey, just take a minute to think about it. And then he said, matter of fact, we have the first kind of group call, if you will, or Zoom coming up on whatever date it was. You can join that if you want, just kind of get a feel. And And I was kind of twisted up about the whole thing because, man, probably one of the last people that I want to disappoint. And if you know him, one of the last people you'd want to disappoint is Chris
Right.
Nasky, right? I mean, and like, I don't want to say no to that guy for anything, right? I mean, it's just knowing him. And so yeah, so I was just kind of twisted up in knots about it. I wasn't really in a good place in terms of the financial investment, just even the time and all that kind of stuff. Time bandwidth is kind of, kind of slim for me these days. And and it got really to the point where it just came down to the, give me do you have a yes or no kind of thing? What are you thinking? And again, I just kind of had to be honest with him, because what good does it do for me to even like, oh, I don't want to hurt his feelings, I don't want to say no, so yeah, sure, Chris, I'm in, and then not, and then like all of a sudden, just kind of fade off, or well, when it's time to send money, hemming and hawing and all that kind of stuff, like then that's even more detrimental. And when I just kind of told him where I was at, he was like, "Oh man, don't worry about it. Like we're good." I mean, I'd rather you say no. Sometimes people hearing your no could be the best. It could be better than a yes from you. So
yeah, especially when you're doing events and you've got a list of people. If somebody's hemming and hawing, you don't know if that person's in or out. You could bring somebody else in. So I had a experience yesterday where I was at the track, and one of the guys I know from racing, his son's in college. He's got an extra card, so we get to go out and go race. And he's like, "Oh, I get to leave it here and this and that." I was like, "Oh, well, I'm coming back. Could I use while you're not here?" He's like, I'm like, "You can say no. Like, that's your stuff. I'm asking you to use your stuff. Like, you don't have to like feel bad about it." He's like, "Well, I would just really rather not. If I'm here and something happens, that's cool. If I'm not, then." I was like, "Cool. Just give me a yes or a no. Like, I know I'm asking for something that's yours to use your stuff. It's okay if you say no. I would rather you say no than, yeah, well, maybe, and then be upset about it later."
because when you do that, you end up getting resentful. When your real answer is no and you end up saying yes, then you end up with resent for that person or for that scenario after the fact, because you really didn't want to do that in the first place.
Yeah.
And so to avoid all that and to avoid that between the two of you, it's better to just keep your word. And again, if it's yes, if it's no, just let it be that. And I find more often than not, especially for me, and this is something that that I just like the way you put that out there. I put that out there around the house here. Like if the answer is no, okay, like I'm just tell me that. But but the whole in between kind of lukewarm thing I don't really do so well with.
Well, and then like to your point, we talk about resentment. If he had said yes because he felt pressured or didn't want to say no, and then in that instance something happened, now he has no repercussions because he said yes instead of just saying no, I don't feel comfortable with that. I want to be here. Then if something had happened, like I wrecked one of his cars or broke something, now he has there's no leg to stand on when he comes back. He already said yeah. And then he's going to be twice as resentful, mad at himself, and then bitter at me because he said yeah when he meant to say no. Do yourself a favor and just say no. Let me tell you something, people. Most of us with ADD and all the work and stuff we got going on, and we're half introverted and stuff like that. I mean, not everybody's like Kirk and an extreme extrovert. We want to hear your no's. We want to hear your, "Oh, our plans canceled. Yay, I get to stay home." Us introverts, we don't mind that. So go ahead and tell us no.
Matter of fact, the older I'm getting, the more I like no's more than yeses these days, man. It's like,
see what I'm saying?
No's like take stuff off of my radar, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with chilling. Hey, we'll be right back. Madmen and Masculinity on KLDC. Boom.
How are we on time? I was like, I didn't set mine, so I can't
like
see yours.
13:12.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
We got to come up with some kind of nonverbal
yeah.
signal or something like that. I used to wave the timer, but I don't know. We'll come up. We'll come up.
We'll figure something out.
We'll figure something.
Oh no, I need a timer. That's what I need.
Yeah, I got a stopwatch on my phone. But yeah, that'll work out. All right, cool. You ready?
Ready? Let's go.
All right. We're back.
We're back.
Yeah, we are back. That's right. We are back. We are ranting and raving.
Ranting and raving. It's a ranting and raving episode. You love it.
So I'm gonna take a little pivot here, and I'm gonna tell you that most people want a wedding. Very few people want to be married.
Ooh. Ooh, that's very true. That's very true. They all want the party. They don't want responsibility.
Most people who are single and say they want to be married, they want the ceremony, and they want all the hoopla and all that. They want the Disney Channel, all that kind of, not even Disney, the Hallmark Channel. They want all that. But when you get up there in that ceremony, whether it's in front of a judge or shoot in Colorado, you can do it in your kitchen, like just the two of you. You don't need anybody to marry you. You can literally just stand there and and both of y'all can sign it and mail it in, and you're done, right? So most people want that whole experience, right? But the thing is, after that ceremony or after that moment, then you got to start doing all the stuff you said you was going to do in that ceremony. And that's the hard part. That's the part that can suck sometimes. Like, that's the part that, man, it is. I mean, that's the crucible of relationship. And that can grind you down because then you gotta get yourself out of the way. And you gotta revert back to that. Okay, I gave my word that I was gonna do this and that I was gonna be about this in this relationship. And so, so hence, man, wedding season comes and goes and people get married, and all of a sudden, it hits the fan and ain't nothing working out, and you ain't having sex, and you thought it was going to be as great as this and that. And this happened and this happened and all this other kind of stuff. And everything that was before you got married ain't after you get married at some period of time, or you have periods where it ain't like that. It's different when you go home to your own place at the end of the night, or at the end of the weekend, or at the end of the whatever. It's totally different when going home is the same place, right? I mean, because then you can't get away from that. But the one you can't get away from is yourself, because you said a whole lot of stuff that now the crossroad is, am I going to be able to keep up with everything that I said I was going to do? And that's the part that most people don't want. And the proof of that is that, the divorce rate is, more than half. I mean, every year, almost 1 million people in America go through divorce. So there's a whole up and down seesaw of, or life proof of, when people say they want something, but they really don't want that smoke.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take it right back to, because I'm not going to go rant and raving, because we've already done that episode about the statistics and who files for divorce more and this and that. But it comes down to, are you a person of your word, a man or woman of your word? Are you willing to put your happiness and stuff aside? Because what happens is, and to your point, when it gets hard, that's a mirror in your face. Like, are you who you think you are? Are you the man or the woman you think you are? Are you going to stick with it and work through this and actually create something beautiful and strong? Or you go, I don't like this. This is icky. Ooh, I got to change diapers, or I got to deal with this, or my partner's getting fat, or I'm just tired looking at them, or whatever. That's not being a person of your word. That's being a weather vane blowing in the wind. You got to look in the mirror. I mean, that's why in that book over his shoulder, 7 Secrets of Modern Dating, we put the first chapter is look in the mirror. Because, I mean, like you said, everybody wants the party. They want the recognition. They want to have their special day, but they may not want to actually be in the trenches, being married, being a couple, being people of their word, and sticking it out. And that comes back to looking at yourself, because I know for a lot of us guys, it's a shock when we think we want this person, we want this woman, and then we get there and she's holding up a mirror in our face showing us who we really are, even though we thought we were, this dude. And she's like, well, you're that dude, but you're also this dude and that guy over there. Sometimes it's a big pill to swallow, but you got to be a man of your word and be like, all right, I'm gonna work on that. We're going to work on that and find out who we are together and create a strong foundation and work on that together. But so many of us we want the party. We want to have the ball, but we don't want any responsibility, especially nowadays. I mean, these kids nowadays, they don't want to do nothing. They don't have responsibility for nothing. Everything's somebody else's fault. But real responsibility, real purpose and passion comes from what you put your name on, what you sign your name on. Like, that's mine. That's mine to do. That's my responsibility, whether it's my wife, my kids, my business, or whatever. That's where the real purpose and passion comes from, gentlemen.
Most people want the fire. Not a whole lot of people want the smoke, right? And, you want that big old fat crib. You want that real nice house. They want that payment every month. Like, it ain't like every now and then, or when you got it, we'll take it. They want that bad boy every month. I have never missed a mortgage payment, but I get an email from my mortgage company every single month saying my payment is due. When you want that, folks want that, they want to be that star athlete, but do you really want to be in the gym working out like they do? You want that big platform. You want to be, like this person or that person. But if you really knew what it took to be that person, you would probably change your mind. And again, going back to relationships, man, when folks, when folks say they want to get married, I'm like, it's probably not for everybody. Like it's probably not. Look, all right, this is the we keeps it real around this joint, right?
It's real talk.
Here it comes. Sit down, little boys and girls.
Sit
down, boys and girls. How much time we got left in this segment? All right. Sit down, boys and girls. I got a story time for you. Somebody told me I look like Tim Meadows, man. I was like, I look like the ladies' man. Anyhow, my wife is
Slick Rick
fantastic.
style. Do the story Slick Rick style.
My wife is fantastic. I love my wife. I really, really do. The thing I can't stand about her is that, to your point, being with her holds up a mirror to myself. And I realize the more I'm with her, I realize how selfish I am as a man and as a person. Like it just is what it is. She's had, several back and knee surgeries and all that kind of stuff health wise. It could be worse, but she hasn't had the best structural health, eyes and all that kind of stuff, year over this first year of us being married. In my mind, dude, when we get married, this first year, we're going to be slanging and banging, boy. We're going to be king ding-a-ling up in this joint. I'm going to be coming off the top rope like I'm Jimmy Superfly Snooker. Here it comes, man. Like I'm bringing it. It's going to be on like Donkey Kong up in this joint, man. That's in my mind. I'm thinking we're going to, have this, man. We got an empty nest around. We got no kids around here, man. We just going to be doing our best thing, living our best life. And unfortunately, guess what? When she's out of work on, for 4 months, when she's in bed with a oxygen machine over there, this ain't, that ain't what the brochure said, and so I have to look at myself and say, man, how selfish am I, dude? Like I promised on that beach in Negril, Jamaica, almost a year ago to be her priest, her provider, and her protector. And that was not conditional based on her health or the circumstances. So I have to remind myself, and I can't stand it because it gets on my nerves. I got to remind myself, man, stop being so freaking selfish, dude. I mean, keep your word. You said you were going to do that. Keep your word, because otherwise, without your word, what are you? I mean, what are we as men without that? So I have to keep reminding myself of that. And like I said, that's one prime example of how we got to remind ourselves, even in the context of, let's say, relationship, that man, especially as men, I don't think you said this a little bit earlier. I don't know that verbal integrity is as important to women as it is to men. I think quite often, women they say a whole lot of stuff they don't mean more than men. Men do it too, but I think generally speaking, without any kind of facts or any kind of survey or anything like that, I got no way to measure it other than 51 years of life, that for guys, like you said you were going to do this, do it. Women are like, yeah, but I was on my period when I said that, or I was hangry, or whatever it was. I mean, and so verbal integrity I don't think means as much to women as it does to men. But for men, we have to be the tip of the spear in keeping our word.
Yeah, it's something that we as men need to be more conscious about, saying what we're thinking and what we're feeling, because we've been so taught to shove it all down. Don't express your emotions. Don't express what you're doing. Just be the rock, be the stoic, be all those things. But if you're a man of your word and you're not expressing what's going on within you, a lot of times then you look disingenuous, you look dishonest when it comes to that tipping point, and now you can't take it anymore. If you don't start expressing like, hey, baby, I don't like that, or this is what I'm feeling, or I feel disrespected, or I don't like your girlfriend because she's trying to put a wedge between, whatever it is. If you're not actually talking about these things, and yes, to Kirk's point, ladies are driven by their emotions. A lot of times they're going to say really nasty things to you when they're mad or upset or emotional or hormonal or whatever. And so some of that stuff you don't want to take personally. I know I've ended relationships in the past when they told me to F off and go away. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, where are you going? Well, you just told me to F off and go away. I listened to you. I'm doing what you said. That's not what I meant. Well, then you shouldn't have said that. But that's just the facts of men and women. But as men, to lay that foundation as a man of your word, you've got to use your words and say, this is what I expect. This is what I'll put up with. This is what I won't put up with. And then as things progress, you got to continue building that. That's why ladies test us and challenge us and push our buttons to see if we're a man of our word. If we're going to tell her no, so that she can trust we're going to tell some other lady no. And so you have to actually use your words, gentlemen. I mean, the grunts sometimes work, but most time they're not very eloquent. You want to be like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I think. And this is why I don't like your girlfriend because of this reason, that reason, the other thing. And you have to lay that foundation so that if it does come to that point later on where there's some impasse, then you have a track record of, hey, I've been telling you, and this is what I meant, and I'm a man of my word. So if you cross that line again, these are the repercussions. We have to spell these things out for people because, to even our initial example, there was unexpressed expectations. We are operating the way we operate. His unexpressed expectations didn't get matched. So then now they're upset. Well, had there been some expression, had there been some, back and forth, a little conversation, there would have been no problem. But, a lot of times we have these issues where we expect something from somebody else we're not willing to give. And I think that's where this all started. He just had this expectation of something that he thought we should operate a certain way, but he didn't express that. He didn't say, I need these, items. I need this thing by this time. I need this because I set up my schedule this way. Those things weren't said. And so in your relationships, in your businesses, even in your friendships and your family, express yourself so that people know what to expect. It's, this whole being the silent killer, that doesn't really work. You can be an observer, but then express yourself. Do these things for not only the help of the people around you, but for your own, so that they actually know what you're thinking, dude.
And what happens a lot of times in relationships is I've seen this over and over again as I work with men and a lot of married men in addiction, is that when they'll tell their wives one thing, but they'll be doing something totally different. They tell their wives, "No, I stopped doing that," and then their wife knows, one, for intuition, two, because they get caught, that they're still doing that thing that they said that they're not doing anymore. And it creates a cycle of mistrust. It creates a cycle of broken integrity, and it creates a cycle of insecurity on her part. And one of the things that women value most in relationship is security and trust. And so, our word in those areas of our lives is extremely important. You know what else is important?
Breaks.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Madmen and Masculinity, KLDC. Boom.
It doesn't do me any good to set my timer for 13 hours and 0 minutes.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm looking
That's
at
gonna be a long segment.
I know. I'm I know we've been talking more than 3 minutes.
That's gonna be a long segment. It's gonna be a real long segment, dude.
Y'all gotta bear with us. We're making this all work. We're doing our thing, keeping it going just for you.
Yep. But JBK is leaving me. He decided to abandon his closest friend, and he decided to move away. And so therefore we have to, I got to change my life to fit, his choices and his decisions, because the next show is going to be about how your decisions impact other people. Because right now his decisions have now, created consequences and repercussions.
See, once again, you're going negatively, because now you don't have to drive to the studio. I don't have to drive all the way across town. We can do this from home. I'm going to the mountains for the winter.
I didn't look forward to that, man. How you know I didn't look forward to that?
Maybe you did. I don't know, but I'm just saying. Man. I'm just trying to save you gas money, and now you're being all butthurt.
How you know I don't work from home all day, and I missed the opportunity to get out, and then I used to hit the gym on the way home for International Chest Day on Monday, and now I gotta leave home, drive all the way to the gym, drive all the way home, man.
See, you just said you like to leave home, and now you complain about leaving home. You a woman. You get on my nerves.
Hey, man. So
mean what you say. Be a man of your word.
All right. Hey, we're back.
Yes, we're back.
This is segment 4. I just got chewed out on a break here. I just got reprimanded.
You started it. You just started it, man.
I just got completely dismantled in my humanity for who I am as a person and things I value most. I value friendship and connection.
Man,
Apparently
he's going
more
off the deep end.
than Jason, and therefore I
Man.
got chastised for how much I look forward to driving to the radio every Monday and being face to face with him and Tanner.
That's not what you got chastised for. You got chastised for switch up your story. You're like, I like going to the radio station, and then I get to go to the gym, but now I got to leave the house to go to the gym. I mean, come on, man.
So you acknowledge that I got chastised.
Yeah, because that didn't make no darn sense.
So the details of the chastisement be left up to those in the chat. Put your comment. Put a comment down there if you just watched that whole last segment. Did I get chastised for the right or wrong thing in life, man? I mean, let me know. Am I wrong? I mean, I could be wrong.
See, ain't nobody wrong here. It's just you have your thoughts and feelings. I have my thoughts and feelings, and we're working through it. See, this is what relationships about, people. When things change, you got to work through it. You got to be flexible, and you got to keep it moving.
And you got to put up with being chastised when you're being chastised.
Well, I've been chastised quite a bit, so
that's true.
These things do happen. These things do happen to both of us.
So with this whole scenario with our guest that gave us the Heisman, the stiff arm and kind of did that whole thing, again, absolutely, is there some fraction of that we assumed, like all the other hundreds of guests, that if we had a date set that we would be okay with that date? Yeah, we assume that. Was it, what happens when you assume? Well, okay. And so, we assume that. So if there, whatever fraction of ownership we can take on that one, fine. I take on that one. Maybe we should have communicated every week. I don't know. But in my mind, if I got something on my calendar for October 7th, then I'm looking forward to it's there for October 7th. But again, maybe that's just me. I'm just saying. I mean, no other guest has had an issue, including the last 3, so on and so forth. I guarantee you that we've had more guests than he's had radio shows. So the norm is probably our experience more than his. But whatever. I mean, it is what it is. The whole point about this is keeping your word, and and last but not least, I think it's vitally important that we keep our word with and amongst other men. If you have any expectation to build connection and trust between other men, the easiest way to break that trust is to not be a man of your word. And we, there are people that I know that when they tell me they're going to do something, or they're going to show up, or they not, there are people that, that is on our golf rotation that I know that, we text them saying, are you good for next week, Sunday at 7:30 a.m. Kennedy? They can say yes, but there are some people I'm like,
we double checking.
Yeah, we double checking on that one. So, but if you say you're going to show up somewhere, if you say you're going to do something, then be there and do that with other men, or else you will not have any sort of relationship or connection with other men, period.
Well, it brings up a good point, because I mean, even us taking responsibility for the fact that, we didn't check in, we didn't check what he needed, we didn't do those things, and we just had our expectations because that's how we do things. As men, sometimes we need to check ourselves and realize that not everybody operates the way you do. Everybody thinks the way you do. I mean, I've done so many trainings and even taught some about personality differences, communication styles, things like that. So we as men have to be open to the fact that not everybody thinks the way we do. There's different personality types, there's different energy types, there's different communication styles, all these different things. So sometimes if something's not sitting with us, be a man of your word, be a man of integrity, and ask questions. Just be like, hey, I don't feel like we're on the same page. Maybe I'm not being clear. Let's clean this up. Now, I know in today's world, it's, everybody's woo busy, and we're so busy, and we fill up our calendars and we live by our calendars, because we put in something for December today in our calendars, we're like, okay, that's locked in. Maybe not everybody works that way. We've got to be willing to even be humble sometimes and say, hey, this is how I operate. Is that cool with you? Does that work for you? Because I think even if in this situation, if I had been more proactive, or you had, or whatnot, and we had just been like, hey, just double check in, or, do you need something? How are we looking? That could have eased whatever issues that we are dealing with now. but it's also, that's human nature. We have to be willing to be forgiving of our own human nature because, like you said, Kirk, we have been doing this for years, and this is the first time we've really had this issue. In my mind, I'm like, well, if it doesn't work, then it's probably a good thing. It's probably not going to be a good fit, probably a bit of a bad show. But, and actually, I think it is a good thing because now we have this good show.
Yeah.
Now we have a topic to talk about that is vital for men to keep in the forefront of their minds. Be a man of your word. And sometimes that means asking questions and saying no.
Yeah. A year to year and a half in advance, I will get a text from Shelly about, are you good with September 21st, 2025 for MCing Gary Barnes boot camp? And I'm like, 2025? I mean, man, I scroll, I ain't nothing on my calendar that far in advance, but
I ain't got that calendar yet.
And I'll put it on my calendar, and when it's on, it is on. Like there's no more communication, 6 months in advance, 3 months in advance, a month in advance, a week in advance. It's like it is on. That's how we work and operate. Another factor involved in this is reputation. Your reputation means a lot, means a whole lot. In a town like this, Denver is not a big city, and between the two of us, we know a lot of people in Denver. And if we don't, we probably know somebody that knows that person. Like there's, especially in certain circles or whatever. Again, the last 2 weeks we had on 2 different people that have just addiction recovery organizations. And so it's a very small town. And for that matter, the country, with technology and all that, the country is small. Shoot, the world is a small place these days. And your name and your reputation means a whole lot. And the last thing you want to do is to mess up your reputation or even the reputation of somebody else. Because again, especially if somebody refers you or connects you with somebody, you can mess up their reputation by, being a flake and by, just kind of acting a fool, whatever the scenario is, you can mess up somebody else's reputation. And so, your reputation means a lot, and people need to know that, that you are who you say you are.
Yeah. I mean, I've run into it. We've had the experience too together where I'm attempting to help somebody out. I had somebody do a service for me, clean my place. And then you're like, I need somebody to clean my place. And I'm like, okay, well, this girl cleaned my place. Let's, I'll give her a shot and send her over to you. And then same kind of thing. She went all flake crazy about, I don't know, coming to Parker or whatever the thing was.
Hot garbage, dude.
And then now I feel bad because my experience was different. But of course, I take that as a personal hit because that affects my reputation because it's like, well, it worked for me, but it didn't work for you. But I'm the one that suggested this person to you. And now I don't even know what to say. So my bad. So now I have to apologize for something I didn't even do when I'm trying to help somebody else out. And that's the kind of mindset you almost have to have. Like, yes, you want to help people out. But if you're the one suggesting, if you're the one putting your word behind somebody, you got to be very careful, gentlemen, about who you put your word behind. And sometimes, like I know in my case, I'm trying to help a lot of people out. I may not always vet them properly. So especially if it's something like, okay, cleaning somebody's house, not a huge deal. Not the end of the world. It is a pain in the butt to get somebody else. But if it's something serious, make sure you know who you're putting your word behind. Make sure you know who you're putting your stamp of approval on, because that could be the death knell in your coffin trying to help somebody out that has, bad intentions. If you don't know this person, vet them. Because any person worth their salt, any man worth his reputation is going to protect their reputation by vetting those he gives his word to. It's just like any job, any society, any club. You may be able to get your foot in the door. Doesn't mean you're going to get up to the upper echelon until you have proven who you are. And that's because of when you get to the point of building something and you need to count on the brothers around you, your reputation is everything to those men next to you.
The same person that referred this guy to us has referred several people to us as far as, coming onto the show. And it's almost to the point now where when this person calls and says, hey, I want to connect you with this guy for you. I mean, it's
let's go.
Instantaneous. Like there's no vetting. There's like the vet is done because of that text or that message that we got. And so
luckily, and he's so good that even after this, we're still not going to hold it against him.
Oh, no. And that's what I'm saying. Like in this case, we are so solid with him that this is the exception and not the rule. Like this is the anomaly, and but again, that has already been established with this person. So your reputation, if in terms of affecting other people's vouching for you, if they're not like fully established in who they're referring to you, man, that could be not a good place. That could be some landmines. I mean, and so your word means a whole lot, not even just to the people around you in terms of family and friends and brotherhood and all that kind of stuff, but also, to people who could maybe try to connect you with other people and put you in different circles, put you on platforms, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and even to the point of, I think back on my childhood, and sometimes I wish I had just been told no. So even as parents and as fathers, we want to do the best for our kids, but sometimes a little honesty is probably the best medicine. Don't give me this "we'll see" or maybe we'll, do this, and then nothing ever happens, because your kids remember that stuff. And then you start to lose your reputation with them, especially as they get older, because they'll hold on to that stuff. So it may not be, truth is not always the best tasting medicine, but it's always the right medicine when it comes to building your reputation with friends, family, anybody else. So yeah, it may not be easy all the time to be honest and say that's not going to work for me, or we're not going to do that, or this isn't going to happen. But it gives you much more respect and you have much more weight to your word when somebody can trust your yeses as well as your nos.
Yeah, I mean, with this scenario in this case, like this time, if you will, for it to come down to it, quote unquote, it's not a good fit. When we had this plan 3 weeks ago, again, to me, that speaks of like other different things. It would have been a whole lot better to just whatever the scenario is. I mean, if it is like, my intuition tells me if it is one of those, oops, I forgot and I can't make it now. If you just say that, cool. I mean, we can pivot, we can do whatever. If it was whatever the scenario is, but for it to be, yeah, you sent him the link again for an hour-long show, and within minutes he comes back, yeah, it's not a good fit. I mean, to me, that's incongruent, right? With the fact that you had this plan ideally on your calendar for 3 weeks. Like if nothing else, you should have been watching and listening between then and now, or ask way back then, hey, can you tell me what your show is about? All this other kind of stuff. But to me, that it just didn't sit right. And I like to give a whole lot of gotten comfortable with giving myself credit for my intuition, but yeah, it just didn't sit right. And us as men, man, we gotta be good with our word, man. We gotta be good with our word. And speaking of our word,
yeah, our word is our foundation, and our foundation is what we build our legacy on. And so, gentlemen, it's not always easy, but it's necessary. Right. And speaking of,
what is easy? What it is easy is hollering at your boys, manmanradio.com, right. Checking us out on YouTube, Facebook. It doesn't cost you nothing to hit subscribe. You can unsubscribe in the future. You can hit like and you can hit unlike in the future. Don't cost you absolutely nothing, but it sure does help us to do what we want to do, which is make men a better place to be, making manhood and masculinity a better place to be in this world. And so we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And even though JBK is abandoning me, I love him. And with that, we are gonna
be in the show like that. I'm not gonna let you put me on blast like that and just
drop it like
the hot. I'm moving 60 miles away. I got phone calls. I got cars. I ain't abandoning nobody. But until next time, make sure you like and subscribe. We just hit 4,000. We're heading to 10,000. Love y'all.
Be like Jason. Bye. We are out.